Welcome to the Exit Plan Show. I'm Norman A. Hood, financial advisor and host. I interview America's top advisors like today's guest, Jeff Magginnis from Horizon Bank here in Indianapolis. We help business owners enjoy more personal freedom, grow their companies faster, and transition ownership seamlessly when the time comes. Welcome to the show, Jeff. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, could you take a second and just tell our audience about your career path up till now?
Oh, certainly. Be happy to do that. My career path spans about 22 years now here in Indianapolis. The first 6 years was actually on the retail side of banking with a large organization. Actually, that name doesn't even exist any longer due to mergers and acquisitions and so forth. And then about 15, 16 years ago, I got into the commercial side of banking after working with a lot of small businesses in the retail shop. So I've been through the management side and so forth, and then moved into the commercial banking role and have done that ever since.
Okay, good. Now, if I remember correctly, T. Ray Phillips, he actually helped me connect with you here.
That's correct.
And T. Ray, I'm sure, knows you pretty well, probably from back a few years. You and I just met. So how do you think some of your best friends would describe you personally?
Pretty intense. I kind of a driving personality. I like to get things done. Very much into the whole business world in terms of understanding companies and corporations and so forth. Rather inquisitive by nature. So just this morning, in fact, I was talking with somebody and she said, bankers never ask me these types of questions. And I said, well, I'm not the typical banker.
Right.
Matter of fact, oftentimes I get told by folks that, hey, you're different than a lot of the bankers that we talk to, because it's more than just the numbers. And I like to have fun. I like to enjoy what I do at work, enjoy what I do at home. And but most people would consider me to be pretty much a driving personality.
Okay. How about Horizon Bank? Can you just tell us just a little bit about Horizon?
Sure. Horizon Bank is based out of Michigan City, Indiana, so it's an Indiana-based bank. We got to Indianapolis via an acquisition about 3 years ago, and then opened up 2 other locations in addition to that. So we have a total of 7 in this market and about 35 around our footprint. It's a couple $1 billion sized bank, so it would be on the small end of the banking world, what we would consider a community-sized bank. Very much into service. In fact, our tagline is basically exceptional service and trusted advice. So that's kind of our 2 mantras when we talk to folks, is we want to make sure we're giving them good advice and we're also taking care of them. Okay.
And you're in commercial lending primarily. Is there any aspect of that you enjoy more than others?
Ultimately, the part about commercial lending that's fun for me is when you work with companies, is helping them achieve whatever it is, a goal, a dream. And when you have that opportunity to do that and see the results at the end of the day, whether you're restructuring debt or you're helping somebody buy a company or just generally helping them get into a new market, that's what makes it a lot of fun. And so I enjoy that probably the most, is just seeing what those folks, how they react when you say, we can help you.
Okay. Well, you mentioned a little bit about this, about people say you don't act like a regular banker, and I think that could be a differentiating characteristic. What do you think in general differentiates Horizon Bank and their approach to commercial lending as maybe compared to some of the others?
I think a couple of things that come to mind. I think first of all, the fact that we do care. Like I said, I was on the phone this morning with somebody, and she said, most bankers don't ask me questions about my business. They want to just know the numbers. And she was hesitant to answer the questions at first, and after she answered one, I said, well, that is what makes us different, is we do actually care about the business, and we want to know more than just what we see on the piece of paper. I think the other differentiating factor for us really is, in today's world, we can be a large presence without being a large footprint. So when you're a $2 billion bank and you've got the products and services that exist out there, that's a real difference maker. So for the consumer, in this case a business, the benefit to them is now I can work with my local community bank, but I don't necessarily have to give them up when I start growing and getting larger, because we've got larger lending limits. We also have larger access to their needs in terms of, hey, maybe they're 50 miles away from my closest branch, but I can actually still service them because of electronic deposits, for instance.
Okay. One of the things I sense when I meet a guest is their energy level. And when we first met just a few minutes ago, I sense you have a high energy level. And I know there's got to be something that energizes you to stay in commercial banking for as long as you've been in it, and to get up and want to take right off into it the next morning. What is that? What's the one thing you think most energizes you?
I think, going back to what I said earlier about helping the businesses actually achieve something, when you get an email from a client or one that you're about to do a deal for, saying you're basically helping me make the decision to stay in business rather than getting out because you're changing my perspective quite a bit, that's a big factor. Another one that's kind of a little bit of a sidebar is in our industry, there's not a lot of experienced lenders anymore. That's changed over the last 20 years. So the opportunity also to help out the junior lenders coming up is a lot of fun, and helping them grab onto that passion for working for business, and then seeing them be successful in putting a deal together and kind of learning what you've done for the last 15 or 20 years. That's what makes it fun for me.
Okay, great. And then last question, we've typically focused on three things. Pardon me, it tied my tongue there. We've typically focused on three things for business owners: either helping them find more time they can take off and do other things besides being immersed in their business, or growing their company faster, or developing a plan to transition ownership, either selling to a third party or even transferring to insiders like a family member or a key management team. In any of those areas, if you could give people one tip, a business owner, what would that tip be?
I think from the standpoint of thinking about exiting, or thinking about what is that next phase, get us involved early. I think a lot of times business owners, for various reasons, don't get their banker involved early in the process. And it could be really any advisor. When they're thinking about doing something, get us involved early, and also think about their plan early on, even in their own life cycle as well. Know where they want to go, what they think that exit plan may look like, and it might be 20, 25 years down the road.
Right.
But to know where they want to go, and then involve the players earlier in the game so that they can build it the way they want it. There's a lot of business owners that, unfortunately, when it comes time to sell, the piece that's missing is they've not planned for that sale. And as a result of not planning for that sale, then they don't ultimately realize what they thought they could in terms of a price and what that exit strategy might look like.
Okay, that's great advice. Thank you. Very good interview. Appreciate it.
Right. Thank you.
So folks, that was Jeff Magginnis. He's with Horizon Bank here in Indianapolis, Indiana. For more information about Jeff, you can go to the show notes on our website for this episode, and you'll also find a link there to his website and find more information about him. Thanks a lot for joining us.